Hey, I'm Matt Henley.
And I'm Rain Woods.
And welcome to the Showtime podcast for the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band. Whether you're a current member, one of our incredible alumni from the Long Purple Line, or a proud supporter of the band, we're so glad you tuned in today. I'm Matt Henley, director of the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band at Western Carolina University.
And I'm Rain Woods, now former chief student archivist for the band.
And did amazing things. Rain, before we jump into today's conversation, why don't you just take us back a little bit? Help us set the stage. What makes this program so special, do you think?
If there's anything that I've learned over the last 2 years working as archives chief, it's that we're always looking towards the future. We're always looking to push the envelope. What more can we innovate? What more can we change? How can we just shoot forward? But the thing about that is we can't really do that without also remembering what came before us. The alumni of the Long Purple Line is our living history, and their stories and their efforts that they put into this program is the most important thing. When it comes to the founding members from the 40s, to when Bob Buckner was a student in the 60s, to the foundations of the Pride in the early 90s, and then the golden years of the early 2000s, the innovation that came through the 2010s and the David Starnes era, and then the early 2020s. I miss y'all. I know y'all are out there. Shout out to any early 2020s alumni. And of course, what we're working on today and how we're going to push forward, keeping all that in mind.
Absolutely. I love that. And, that's the heart of it right there. It's never really about the show. It's about the people, and it's about the legacy, and it's about taking care of the next person in the line. We talk a lot about the Long Purple Line, and it is very, very real. And that actually brings us to why we are here today. We are launching a brand new initiative. If you've not heard about it, it's called the Extend the Line campaign. This campaign is built on a simple but powerful idea, making sure that every single student who wants to be a part of this program has the opportunity to be here. Because the reality is band fees and travel costs can be a challenge, and this campaign is about stepping in as a family to help carry that load. When you give, you're not just donating, you're extending the line, as we like to say. And we want everyone listening to know that this is something you can be a part of at any level. I really believe that educationally, one big thing about today for me is letting everybody out there know that, yes, all of our Pride of the Mountains members do basically pay to play. There is a fee associated with being in the band, and that's what today is all about, is trying to help those in the band currently and breaking down those barriers of those that might not participate because of those fees. But the cool part is we've created something that's pretty neat. There are 2 tiers of giving. From $1 to $999, your gift goes directly into a general fund that helps as many students as possible. And please remember that every single dollar matters. And at $1,000, you are doing something truly special. You are covering basically one student's band fees for the entire season. And more than that, we're going to connect you directly with that student in a section of your choice so you can see the impact of your generosity in a very real way. And to talk a little bit about this and this grand initiative, we've got an incredible group of guests who represent every part of that line and more. We have Assistant Director of Athletic Bands, Jeremy Louie, and current student and tuba section leader, Mercer Chambly, and alumni and co-president of the Long Purple Line Club, Carrie Carpenter.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. And former staff coordinator and current graduate student at the University of Massachusetts, Hudson Moore.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for being with us. And of course, the grand poobah of them all, our WCO band alumni, former director of athletic bands, and all-around great guy, Mr. Bob Buckner.
Hey guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us. Jeremy, here you are. You're working with our students every single day and just a wonderful partner with me in the office. I love being with you. Bring a lot of talent, a lot of energy. What inspires you about this initiative, and what do you want people out there to know?
Yeah, I think that, one of the things that anybody who's been a part of a marching band program, whether they've been a participant in it or they've been a band parent or they've, been a volunteer in any capacity, they know that a marching band program is so much more than just a class or just an ensemble, and that it really is something that fosters a great deal of lifelong skills and lifelong relationships, and that's absolutely true here at Western Carolina University. The long purple line extends wide and far, and the legacy and tradition of excellence here in the program is matched by the legacy and tradition of family and relationships and a really meaningful student impact. And I think that through this campaign and through the work of the Long Purple Line Club, we've really seen how impactful this experience has been for our alums and for the wider WCU band family. And I think that this initiative is going to be a really cool opportunity for folks to have a really meaningful and in this case really tangible impact on our current and future students.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, it's a very real thing. It allows us to do the things that people want and expect us to do, including our own students. But yeah, sometimes it is a barrier for some of our students, and you're exactly right about that. Next, we got Bob. Bob, you've seen this program from every angle. How do you see alumni and supporters stepping up for today's students?
I think it's imperative that we do that. If we're going to continue this, we're going to have to put some money into it to make sure it continues. Everything in college athletics these days is paid. How much money does a quarterback get? How much money does an offensive lineman get? All that kind of stuff. So everything we do, particularly like the Western Carolina band, is such a great recruiting tool. I mean, they just go on the road. They entertain thousands of students every year. And I think we put some money back into that so that they can continue to do it. I know that when I was in the band, I don't remember, anything other than just trips. I mean, we would go to Lenore Ryan, which was from Cullowhee to Hickory, and we thought that was a big deal. And it was for us, it was a big deal to go down there and do that. But now we don't have things like that. The things you have now are going to Indianapolis, any kinds of different venues where you would have bands that would be attracted to coming to Western Carolina. And that's really what you're doing is you're selling the university. And a lot of times people don't realize that, you're doing something for the university itself by having the band out there. So I think that would be the thing that I would say that would be most intriguing to start with.
I totally agree with all of that. You helped to certainly build this legacy, Bob, and this just kind of feels like the next chapter of it to me. I just think that that's where we're headed and where we need to be. And like I said, just letting everybody know that our students are actually paying to play, which is a very big deal, and shows a lot of commitment and a lot of heart, and that they want to be there to do this wonderful thing that we do. Hudson Moore. Hudson, you've always been about the student experience. You and I had several conversations back when you were here. What could this initiative really mean for our students, do you think?
Yeah, so the great thing about the Pride of the Mountains is all the different opportunities it offers to students. Things like having this built-in community on campus, this place where they're going to meet all these lifelong friends, the opportunity to travel, whether that's to New York City or Indianapolis or Florida, to grow as a musician. And then that's not even talking about our student leaders who are given so much responsibility, so much opportunity to grow as people, and they're going to carry those skills with them for the rest of their lives. And when I was marching, I definitely had a lot of friends and people that I was marching with who were really worried about how they were going to pay their band fees, especially during those bigger trip years, like when we went to Macy's. And so for students to not have to worry about paying their band fees is a huge stress reliever, and it allows them to focus on having the best experience possible, putting all their energy and effort into becoming the best musician and performer and leader that they can be. And it really gives them the chance to participate in band for all 4 years and take full advantage of their time.
I couldn't agree more. I think when students can focus on the experience instead of the stress, that's when the magic really happens. So I agree with you. And I'll say the obvious out loud too. Not every single student is in the same situation monetarily. There are some students that are lucky enough to have a family that can support it with, and then we have others that are not. I think it's important for us to remember that everybody has a different story that they're currently living. So I think that's really, really important. Also with us, Carrie Carpenter, the person that came out of retirement, so to speak, to come help us get the Long Purple Line Club started, and just a true warrior when it comes to this band program. Thank you so much for being with us. Carrie, you came back to give, like I said, back to this program. Why is alumni involvement so important in your opinion?
Well, I think for most alumni, marching band or just general alumni at Western is that Cullowhee feels like home. Every alumni I've ever been around from Western, when we see each other, we just greet each other with on our Western gear. And I always hear alumni just talk about how Cullowhee feels like a place where they belong. I think about my first time ever coming to Western to audition, and that drive off of 40 onto exit 27 and then off of 74 onto exit 85 through Catamount Gap and onto campus. I felt like this was a place where I could belong, and this was a place that just felt like a real community for me. And then, of course, that feeling multiplied when I became a member of the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band. And band gives us that family. And many of us have really big, lasting relationships with our friends and family members, sometimes who are in the marching band with us. It's a long-standing tradition that we're proud of. It's really fun to be out in our communities where we have graduated and gone on to, and people are always really excited when you say you're an alumni of the marching band. And almost always someone will say, well, I know so-and-so that was in the band. And most of the time they're decades younger or older than me, but it's really fun to share that connection too. When we created the Long Purple Line Club, we wanted to make an official place where alumni of the marching band can land together when we return to WCU. And we've spent the past year and a half building relationships and renewing commitment and creating connections. The Long Purple Line Club members are also really big leaders in their communities after they graduate from Western. I say this all the time. I'm across Western North Carolina a lot, and in every county, I can name a member of the marching band who's now a community leader. And I think that is vital for the success of our region. And I know that extends across the state and into the Southeast and around the world as well. But through this time where we have built relationships and we start to think about all this wonderful impact that the band has, we knew the Long Purple Line Club needed to step up and help to the band financially as well. And the big thing that just kept speaking to our team was offsetting the cost of band fees. So back in my day, like we like to say, 25 years ago when I started at Western, it was free to be in the marching band. And in fact, we got scholarships and we received a per diem of cash to spend. I remember going to Indianapolis in 2003 and handing out cash to everybody on my bus because I had to be a bus leader because I was one of the drum majors. Most alumni are really surprised at the cost for being a part of the marching band in 2026 and in years previous as well. And this is an easy way for us to give back. Many of us have some financial means and we're able to contribute in any way from $1 to $1,000. And it's just such a wonderful way for us to give back and give students in our communities an opportunity to be a part of the baddest band in the land.
Well, I completely agree with all that. That connection really never leaves. And this is how we honor all of that, and how we honor our current generation. We also have a really special person with us today, Mercer Chambly, current student and current sousaphone section leader. Yeah, you heard that right, tuba section leader here. And Mercer, give us the real picture. Like, what do students experience when it comes to band fees?
I first want to touch on some of the inner workings of the band. You hear a lot of people, you talk about the marchers and the musicians, but we have people who run social media accounts. We have an EMT team. We have people who sew clothing, patch uniforms, repair instruments. I could go on forever. I mean, manual labor, building props, and all these people are paying to do these jobs. I mean, they pay money to do these jobs while also being on the field. So we've got so much that people do. And it's hard to see band fees become a contingency. You see people as a student, it's so normal to hear people bargain years, going, oh, well, if I don't march my junior year, then I'll have a senior season. And it's hard to see these talented and eager musicians and marchers. And not only that, but your friends. Like, these people who want to be here and put in the work and just can't afford it at times. And I would love to see that be something diminished within the program.
I completely agree with that. It's heartbreaking to hear those stories, and there's only so much currently we've been able to do, but hopefully an initiative like this can help everyone. And that's why this matters. I mean, these are real challenges and real students chasing something meaningful and wanting to give back to something they really care about. So, yeah, I agree with you. That breaking down that barrier for some of those students is really, really important. And as we think about this campaign, there's one date we need everyone to remember. We are partnering with One Day for Western on Wednesday, March 25th. This is our final push. So it's a day when Catamounts everywhere come together to support what they love about Western Carolina University. And we're asking you to make the Pride of the Mountains part of your giving that day. If this program has ever meant something to you, if you believe in what we're doing, then March 25th is really your moment. Give what you can, $10, $50, $100. Every dollar helps a student stay in the band. And if you're able to give $1,000, you're not just donating, you're going to change one student's entire season, their life really for this fall. And we'll connect you directly with them and have a really meaningful connection with that student, which I think is really cool. Please remember, this is about the people in it. I've always said it's a people business. Bob Buckner taught me that. This is a people business. And yes, we love what we see on those Saturdays and marching down the streets of New York, et cetera. But the truth of the matter is it's all about the people getting that experience and all the behind stuff like Mercer was just talking about and what Hudson was talking about. These behind-the-scenes experiences and leadership opportunities are real. They're real life doing real things. And we just want to make sure that there's nobody cut out of that because of some dollars. So this is an opportunity. This is about continuing something bigger than all of us. So March 25th, we need you to show up and help us extend the line. So thank you so much for listening to the Showtime podcast. Stay tuned. We've got more stories and voices coming your way for sure. A special thank you to Sam Wallace and everyone who supports the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band. And shout out to the Western Wednesdays podcast. Be sure to check them out as well and stay connected with more alumni from Western Carolina University.
Long Purple Line, can't wait to see you in the stands. Come have a beer with me.
And current members, we will see you on the field. And of course, go Cats!